match number 33. Our first referee is Mr. Angelo Howe. And our second referee is Mr. Marlon Macabenta. Introducing the starting lineup for your Philippine Air Force Airmen. Beginning with their middle blocker, number 1, Airman Ralph Calasin. Opposite spiker, number 3, Rance Caholo. Outside hitter, number 5, Paul Salvador. Setter, number 6, Ronchet Villegas. Middle blocker, number 9, Herald Domingo. Outside hitter, number 12, Bri Haleco. And their starting libero is number 10, Mabel Banak. The head coach of the Airmen is Sergeant Jeffrey Malabanan. Presenting the starters for your VNS-Nasty Griffins. Starting with their middle blocker, number 2, Ronier Adviento. Opposite spiker, number 4, Ralph Lacuanan. Setter, number 5, Justin Yatko. Middle blocker, number 10, Chester Bornell. Outside hitter, number 16, Kenneth Culaban. Another outside hitter, number 22, Wewe Medina. And their starting libero is number 12, Keith De Feria. Sitting as head coach for the Griffins is Mr. John De Guzman.
Let's take a look at the starters here for the Philippine Air Force. Again, this is a team that has had difficulty stringing up wins here this conference, and will try to end up with something to smile about here moving forward. Ito naman para sa VNS-Nasty, trying to show everyone that their 5-set performance against the Signal HD Spikers was no fluke, and the VNS-Nasty are going to try and look and see if they can do a number here on the Airmen. Hello again, I'm Paolo De Rosario alongside Neil Flores. Bailey Zacco joins us on the sidelines. Neil, you take a look at how we expect these two teams to start. Philippine Air Force looking like the underdogs here, but VNS-Nasty know that they can't be complacent against this team.
Both teams are actually displaying, or they're both ushering a new era for their respective teams. You can see a lot of young players on the side of the Philippine Air Force, and even with the VNS, they have always retooled their lineup every conference. They try to be competitive in recruitment as well. Of course, you have the likes of Signal and Chris Cross getting a lot of talent from the collegiate ranks and from the other club teams. So for VNS, they were able to get good recruits this conference. Kenneth Culaban is their team captain. Wewe Medina is also there. And they will try to get a win as they drop their last game, Signal HD Spikers.
Great start here for the Air Force, as a little error there coming from the side of Nasty. It means it's a 2-0 start for the Airmen. You mentioned it a while ago, the recruitment wars in men's volleyball has become more and more competitive, and you mentioned how VNS has done a good job in navigating their way through that. As we take a look at this again.
Wewe Medina will get the first point for VNS-Nasty. It's also impressive for VNS kasi laging bago yung players nila, and the gelling hindi yan madaling makuha.
That's true.
Ng ilang weeks lang. Some teams would really need months to years to be able to build that solid and smooth connection.
As we take a look at this, see Wes Caholo getting that off the fingertips of blockers. Yeah, chemistry is hard to build. Just building that relationship, sometimes you learn by doing as the season goes on. And for Nasty, it goes to show you as Culaban comes up strong again. It just goes to show you that if maybe they had more time together, they may have had a better conference. Let's take a look at this again.
Kenneth Culaban has been the primary option of attack for VNS this whole conference. And yung win-loss record nila, it's really not enough to gauge yung skill level ng VNS-Nasty and the Philippine Air Force as well, because they've pushed a lot of stronger teams to the limit. Example nga, yung Signal, 5 sets, kamuntikan na nila makuha in 4.
As we take a look at this again, a strong start here, or rather a good bounce back for VNS after going down 2-0 early on in this first frame. Villegas with the setup, goes to the other side and gets that off the blockers.
Philippine Air Force just doing the block of VNS-Nasty.
Take a look at that again. You know, we've seen it so many times in any sport, really. There's a team that almost knocks out the favorites of the entire league, and then all of a sudden, the next game, medyo may konting complacency, and then they don't reach the same levels of performance. VNS right now, couple of errors, letting the Air Force lead by 2.
Now, it has been a close affair between our competing teams. A couple of unforced errors from both ends of the court. They're still looking to establish their offensive patterns.
Bad time getting it in between the blockers and the net. Take a look at that again. See Adviento getting the point here. He had 2 last time around. We'll try to add on to his count here.
Now, the opposite hitter for VNS-Nasty, sometimes you would see him man the middle blocker position. That is the versatility of Juan Ranier Adviento. And now he scores off an ace to equalize the score here in set number 1.
That's what, you know, it's one of those things that feeling ng Air Force, basang-basa nila, and it just sneaks into that corner. Let's see if he can double up here. Villegas with the setup again. Juanan slowed that down. They go back to Culabat. And the point will go to the Nasty.
There was a check ball.
And I believe there will be a challenge.
Referee.
And the challenge has come up. They're going to challenge the block touch, but I believe they're not allowing that. So let's see what will be happening here. They are holding up the block touch card. You know, I haven't covered volleyball in a while, Neil. I'm excited for the first challenge.
Let's see if this challenge will be allowed. We're still waiting for the first referee to make a decision. The second referee will now approach the umpire to talk things over.
Yeah, so they are reviewing right now. The challenge machine is near us. There's around 3 people in between me and the monitor, Neil, and I can tell you right now they are hard at work at trying to figure out what that is. But we mentioned a while ago, Neil, right now this is a battle between 2 teams who are practically fighting for pride, and you know, none of them wants to go down with just the win total that they currently have. As we take a look at that again,
there was no block touch. Point will go to the Philippine Air Force. That would be considered an unforced error for Ken Culabat.
And that's good move there. Good challenge coming from the Philippine Air Force. Rascaholo comes to serve again. There's a 1-point lead here for the Air Force. Guanan, the push and the score.
Power tip from Aquaman works. Middle blocker of Philippine Air Force is also a tall player, so you have to play it smart and work around the block.
Yeah, it feels like the players here in general, Neil, over the years, parang tumatangkad na lahat eh.
Yeah, this is definitely a different generation of young athletes already.
Ano ba yung generation natin, Neil?
You would see players 16 years old, 16 years old, ang tatangkad na. So when they get to college, grabe
yeah, tama. As we take a look at this again, Culabat pulling one back here for Nasty. And they've been serving well here. Talking about VNS early on in this frame. Three service aces already for VNS. Medina. That makes it a 2-point lead here for VNS. And we go to our first technical timeout. Take a look at that again. Picture perfect and the finish. We'll be back after a short break. Don't go away.
first technical timeout of the first set.
You're watching the Spiker Surf Open Conference 2024 for the Philippine Air Force Airmen. It's all about rebuilding and focusing on the next chapter. I was able to talk to one of their veterans, Ralph Calasin, and Ralph mentioned to me the demeanor of the team. The team is very much positive coming into this game. Training, they're very much locked in, and with their adjustments, specifically their rotation, since they have been giving more playing time to their young guns. Again, the team is very much optimistic that all the learnings and the challenges that they had and experienced all throughout the season, they will carry on to the next. Now coming into this game, they look to stay composed, focused on their long-term goal, and to execute. Back to you, Paolo and Neil.
Thank you so much, Bailey Zakop, with that report, and just giving playing time to some of the younger players. Kanina, you were asking a while ago, some of the players, I saw you talking about the ages of some of these players. Grabe talaga. Can you imagine some of the players that we've seen here in action are not even 15 years old?
Sabi nga ni Coach JP, there were players in the roster for VNS na 14 years old, but currently they're playing in the under-18 PNVF League. But the youngest on the floor is Yatko, 17 years old. 17. But he's already playing at a high level. I mean, you're going against the likes of Ronchit Villegas, one of the veteran setters here in the league. And they also faced champion setters in EJ Casanya, Ish Polvorosa. It's a good experience really for Yatko.
Very good experience. It makes me think, like, what was I doing at 17 years old? As the Philippine Air Force regained the lead here. Lead now by 1, 3 straight points straight away after the first technical timeout. And again, this is, even though the record says they've only won one game, talking about the Philippine Air Force, they are really a team that does perform well beyond yung standing nila.
Before, alam ko, Brian Bagunas and the rest of the NU Bulldogs played for the Philippine Air Force at one point in the Spikers turf, but they found their new clubs. And alam ko yung mga players ngayon ng Philippine Air Force, they're really enlisted.
Yeah. Medina with the push and finds the space. Yes, the Philippine Air Force does have that history, as well as most of the teams that are represented by the armed forces, of actually having enlisted players on. And that time just finding the space in the corner. Neko getting that one.
Has been a nip and tuck affair. This was kind of expected between Air Force and VNS. Player matchups, I would say, pantay lang. Even in the team skills, statistically speaking, medyo hindi rin nagkakalayo. It's really about bringing your A game today and executing flawlessly.
Right now, talking about being flawless, we've seen a couple of errors from VNS-Nasty to start out with, also a couple here from the Philippine Air Force, and at the moment, it is the Air Force, straight from that first technical timeout, who have come out with a bit more of a mission.
2-point lead now for the Philippine Air Force. Brian James Haleco will score off that power tip. He was the leading scorer alongside Ranran Abdilia in their game against Chris Cross. They both tallied 8 markers. Clearly not enough to overpower the King Crunchers. Wewe Medina skying high for that cross-court kill.
Oh, Wewe Medina had 19 points, 19 big ones against Signal HD last time around. And it looks like he has not cooled off. To be fair, who does? Ang init nga na yan eh. Just for those wondering, tumawa si Neil, nakamute lang yung mic niya. As that time, the Philippine Air Force extend their lead to 2.
Philippine Air Force won their opening match against Richmark Sports, but they lost 6 consecutive games. So they do want to get back in the win column.
And that is going to be a streak that would feel so sweet to end, especially towards the tail end of this campaign, as Viento gets that off the blockers. Buti lang yung floor director natin dito is also a good volleyball player back in her day. Able to defend us, Neil. Wewe Medina on the service line. Trying to tie things up, but instead gives a point away. Well, the Airmen now up by 2. And then, we were talking a bit before we went on air about how we really didn't know which way this game would go, especially we didn't see Ranan Abdilia a while ago. We don't know where all of the scoring prowess would come from the Airmen without him here, especially after he played in the last game. But so far, so good for the Airmen. Especially, but as I say that, ito naman ang VNS saying, wait, talk about us instead.
Chester Cornell with a fast, quick attack there from the middle. He was also one of the players in double digits. Actually, 4 players scored in double digits against the Signal HD Spikers. Colabat paced all scorers with 21 markers, followed by Wewe Medina with 19. Rocky Motol had 16 and Chester Cornell had 13. Motol will be coming off the bench for Coach JP de Guzman.
And here come the Nasty again, and that was a nasty finish. Just a 1-point lead right now for the Airmen.
Substitution for VNS-Nasty, Bartolome, and Imperial will check in for Yatko and Dugento.
And the Philippine Air Force looking good still, despite that last point from VNS. Imperial with the serve. Villegas again with the setup, going the other way. That time getting in between the blockers and the net again.
Caholo has been busy in tallying the points. The southpaw of the Philippine Air Force gets one through the block.
Again, had only 5 points last time around, as Caholo is starting to pile up the points for himself. Bravo tried to go down the line. Villegas, ooh, almost a miscue there. Bartolome, the push. The Airmen keep it alive. Bartolome again, and that time the triple block didn't matter.
That's just pure fighting spirit for Bartolome. 3-man block was waiting for that hit, but somehow he managed to squeeze that through.
Here's Colabat. Villegas goes the other way. Medina was there to defend the net. Go back to Wewe and Medina. And they are saying that the point will go to VNS. I don't know if they're going to contest this. Talking about the Air Force, they will not. So we're tied up again at 15.
That was the correct call. The ball already hit the floor. Now we're tied at 15.
Here's Villegas again. They go down the middle. And putting that a bit too long, so VNS will take the lead here by 1. 16-15, but there will be a challenge on the floor first before we go to technical timeout. So let us focus on that here as the Philippine Air Force will try to take the lead going into our technical timeout instead of being down by 1. But this is what we expected, Neil, a tight contest between these two, just a point separating them so far, and it feels like wala talagang lumalamang in terms of the quality, in terms of the run of play.
And this will be a block touch challenge. What's good about VNS and the Philippine Air Force that they entered this game relaxed, the good kind of being relaxed. No pressure, just really playing their game.
That's the bad kind of being relaxed, is being complacent.
Yeah.
But none of them look complacent here today. You're absolutely right. As we take a look and see if there is a block touch, and no cigar, at least based on what we've seen here. Haleko was one trying to get that off the blockers, but there's no block touch, and we're going to go to the break with a 1-point lead for VNS. Don't go away.
To our second technical timeout.
sa inyo. Rain in Manila. Di ka ba nilalamig? Sa tingin ang mga pictures. You belong with me. You belong with me. You belong with me.
Oh my God, I'm happy they're all professional volleyball players instead. Awesome live sports viewing is guaranteed with Signal yesterday, today, and tomorrow's, which now and get up to 3 months with no cash out. Visit www.signal.tv/switch for more details. I love seeing that side of all of our players here, Neil. Just being lighthearted, being really fun, and I'm sure you know them all personally. Just great personalities on and off the floor.
He was trying his best to not laugh. Magsaserve na siya eh.
Oo. Nakita niya yan yung pinapakita.
Nakikinig siya sa sarili niya na kumakanta.
As Medina is able to score there. And it's a 1-point lead here for VNS. It was a 3-0 run for VNS right before we went to the second technical timeout. As at the moment, there's a 4-0 run. As all of a sudden, the Air Force have been grounded here. Villegas sends it the other way, and that results in a point right in front of Kulaba.
Ryan James Haleco this time from the left side. So far, it has been the wing spikers of the Philippine Air Force who has been getting bulk of the sets. At some point, Ronchel Villegas needs to utilize the middle so that you can loosen up the block of VNS. Great tempo on that set from Adrian Imperial. Also one of the standouts during his time in UT. He was teammates with Chao Mandal, Rubens Abrot, Ron Medalla.
Take a look at that again, and you know, the names that you mentioned a while ago just speaks about the quality of experience that he's had. Villegas lofted that high. Kulabat there to receive. Here's Medina again, the soft touch, and oh, the miscom.
The way Medina was there, he was ready to cover for himself.
Take a look at that again.
He was looking at the middle blocker, looking to pick that ball up.
Yeah, just a miscue there. We actually had a good look of their faces as soon as the ball hit the floor. And, you know, that was an important point because, again, VNS went on a 4-0 run just a while ago. Adviento will score because of an error on the side of the Airmen.
Holo will be called for that net infraction. Heading to the 20-point mark already, VNS is in the driver's seat with a 1-point lead.
It's a precarious position still, just a 1-point lead. Villegas, all the time in the world to set that up and sends that straight to the wing, and the point goes the way of the Air Force.
Confusion between Yatko and Wewe Medina in the back row.
As Haleco goes back to the service line here, trying to give the lead back to the Air Force. Oh, Villegas found a way by hook or by crook to keep that up. Here's Kulabat, the soft touch. Coverage is there from Villegas again. He's been everywhere today. And that time the blocking works, and that results in a point here for VNS. Let's put it in an awkward position for the Air Force handle.
There was just enough hang time for Bornell to get a touch on that ball. More substitutions will come in for Coach JP de Guzman. This time it's Paige Pagulong.
Oh, Pagulong here to try and put the finishing touches on this frame. It is still just a 1-point lead. Oh, Villegas chased it and is able to give it. Kept it alive for the Airmen, but there was nothing keeping that from being a point for the Nasty.
Viento has been efficient from the right side.
You know, and cue the timeout here. Again, VNS inching closer and closer to taking the frame.
sa bad situation. Sa first ball pa lang, receive na natin ng maganda para makaset play tayo maganda, maka-atake tayo ng maganda. Pag nag-receive tayo ng bad receive, magko-continuous na yan. Magdidikit-dikit na yan, dugtong-dugtong na yan. Dalawa lang yung lamang nila. Kayang-kaya natin yan. Pasa lang. Huwag kang magmamadali. Ang pagpapacheck ball, dikit mo ganun, itapon mo ganun. Hindi pwede yung pag ganun kagad. Kasi kung pinalo mo yun, sigurado walang block.
Ay, sa transition, di pa tayo nakakadalawa. Oh. Simula 11 na ganun sila nakapatlo. Eh, wala pa nagagawa. Go! Tayo sa kayo maka-adjust sa school. Sinarapis yun eh.
Well, the Air Force are just trying to scramble here and make sure that this does not get out of hand. They are still down 21-19 with VNS inching closer and closer to claiming the opening frame. Ulong on the service line with the serve. Villegas sets that up. And they go down the line and it hits the line, but here is VNS-Nasty disagreeing and asking for a challenge from their coaching staff.
We've had a lot of challenges in this opening set.
Sinabi ko kasi I missed the challenges.
Ayan, binigay tuloy.
That's I thought I was doing a bit of reverse psychology, but no, the karmatic force hits us and we have another challenge here. 21-19 is the count so far. As we wait for the monitor, the challenge machine here to give us the view. But so far, so good for both these teams. It's been a competitive game here so far. The Air Force had their moments. VNS went on a little run in the middle, and so far holding a 21-19 lead. So they are challenging a block touch, I believe. And
that looked clean. There was no block touch.
Yeah, no movement from the fingers, and that will be no block touch. And the point will go the way of VNS. You know, all smiles on the VNS bench, by the way. Syempre, you know, being able to win a challenge, winning a point, that's the coaching scoring for you. Here's Villegas with the setup again. Ulong with a great reception. Here is Kulabat. And managing to keep that alive. The ball still goes to the Airmen. Ulong. Little tip, and the Air Force able to manage that. Lacuanan, the no-looker.
Power tip works for Lacuanan. Now, if you will take a look at the bench of VNS, konti na lang yung players, but they had to split their roster. The under 18 of the Spikers. I believe they're in the semifinals.
Yeah.
They're currently playing there in Taft. There are a lot of volleyball leagues ongoing.
Oh, there's a lot of happenings, by the way, at the Rizal Memorial Sports Complex, and that is definitely one of them, one of the highlights for sure. But really put a lot of muscle on that one, but it didn't matter because the great defense led to the point here for the Air Force. A net fault here against VNS.
Lacuanan was there for the rejection, but on his way down, he touched the net. That will be a violation for VNS-Nasty.
Still a 3-point lead here for VNS. Kulabat with the reception. He will be the one attacking, but there's nothing getting past the block of Domingo.
Great rejection from Domingo. He is the tallest player on the floor. He was able to tighten up the gap left by the opposite hitter.
I think he may also be the tallest player on the bench if he was on the bench. I think he's the tallest player here today. Oh, but the serve is not doing the Air Force any favors as VNS are on the cusp of claiming this one.
That's an expensive error. For most of the time, Philippine Air Force was in control, but somewhere along the tail end of the set, nakaabante itong VNS, and now they're at match point.
Yeah, right at the second technical timeout mark. VNS went on a little run, but the Air Force saying, hold on, we're not done yet. They save one set point as as a series of substitutions will come in. Let's take a look at that again.
Paul Salvador continues to score for the Philippine Air Force. In their last game against Chris Cross, he wasn't able to register a point. He came off the bench in sets 1 and 3. Right now, he is providing much needed offense. Now, Ancheta is in for the first time for the Philippine Air Force as a service specialist, as a backup setter.
There's a little tip to push. Abdul kept that alive and results in another point saved here for the Air Force.
It's back-to-back points for Paul Salvador.
You mentioned, Kaze, that he didn't score last time around, and now he is rectifying that time out on the floor. Let's listen in.
Isang magandang receive lang. Tapos karga natin yung karga natin pag nasa harap si Yatko, karga tayo ng depensa dun sa zone 1 tsaka sa zone 6. Okay, kanina pa lumulusot dun eh. Yung receiver again, dapat nagbabasa kayo kung saan dumadaan yung bola. Sige, isang maganda lang muna. Isang play lang maganda.
One at a time.
Well, just trying to, as you heard a while ago, just one at a time, just trying to take it a single point at a time, and they only need one here. VNS trying to end this one here while the Air Force are looking to make this an extended frame. Trying to keep Neil Flores in the building, who did the first game a while ago, and this is his second tour of duty. Here's Kulabat.
That will sail out.
And it is going to be an extended frame. But there will be a challenge here. They're going to look for a block touch.
Might as well take your chances. You have 2 challenges remaining. Walang carry over.
You mentioned a while ago that not a lot of people on the bench. There are 3 standing in the corner here for VNS, apart from the 2 there on the end of the bench. So that's just the amount of personnel here present for the Nasty. They may be short-handed, but they do pack a punch. Let's take a look here, and no block touch based on our own viewing. And there's a confirmation. So it will be an extended frame, and it is now currently a 3-0 run from the Air Force. A run exactly when they needed. 3 set points saved. Tied now at 24, Ancheta. Juanan able to put them in set point again.
Well, the Philippine Air Force will be on the attacking end in this next sequence. So let's see if they can convert and force a deuce.
No, was the run too little too late here for the Air Force as Kulabat lines this up. Ancheta with the setup, and they save another as the first frame refuses to end.
Coach JB put emphasis on zone 1 and 6. But Kaholo took a different direction as he hit that cross court straight to the libero.
Here's Paul Salvador for the Air Force, trying to take the lead here and go into set point. Medina stuffed there by the triple block. He'll try again. That time 2 blockers, and it wasn't enough.
Where Medina being clutched in this first set. He saves another set point. Cornell will come back in to provide more defense up front.
Well, VNS at set point again. And the Air Force has done well to extend this contest, and they'll do it one more time. I wonder how high we can go here. Set number 1. Let's take a look at that again.
VNS needs to put a defender or 2 in sa cross court, and at least 1 in zone number 1 and 6.
Well, in the last game against the Signal HD Spikers, talking about VNS, they had 2 extended frames. And they're having another one here. And here is a chance for the Air Force to steal set number 1.
Now it's the Philippine Air Force on top as Coach Dave de Guzman talks things over with his boys.
Hindi naman ganun kabilis yung palo eh. So bakit natin ayaw puntahan yung bola? Nag-slide tayo. Basahin natin kung saan nakaharap. Kanina pa nila pinapalusot. Kung may block, kung mag-block yung middle natin dito sa zone 1, sa down the line, dito nila pinapadaan. Pag mag-block ng cross, sa gitna nila pinapadaan. Hindi natin binabasa yung kalaban eh. Kung ano ginagawa ko.
natin, yung body language.
Ha?
Yung body language. One stop. Go, VNS! Pasukan nyo pag
Neil, do I sense a bit of frustration there?
Yeah, I understand the concern of Coach JP. The hits, hindi ganun kalakas, but it was properly placed by the attackers of the Philippine Air Force. So nangihinayang lang din siya. Kasi may tao naman dun eh. Hindi lang naka-plant yung paa sa tamang posisyon for the dig.
And let's see if VNS can do what Air Force have been doing, saving the set point. Medina. And the two blockers just did enough to slow that down. Pressure here on Nasty. They go back to Medina. The soft touch is good.
Medina against the 3-man block. Just going to that soft touch. As we go to another extension. Another loose point here in the opening frame.
Well, it was a fierce sequence, but the softest of touches got the point here for VNS. But they give it straight back. And here's set point for the Airmen. Cajolo and Villegas will check back in, but I think it's safe to say here the rotations of the Air Force have worked so far in terms of the substitutions and the personnel coming in. Here's Villegas, who did not score in his last game. And here's for the frame, and the Philippine Air Force pull a rabbit out of the hat.
Ryan Haleco will score the winning point here in the opening set. That service error was costly for VNS. They were able to get a 3-point lead in the tail end of this set, but the Philippine Air Force never gave up.
Well, they were up 24-21, but they end up losing to the Philippine Air Force 29-27 in set number 1. Don't go away. We'll be right back with the second frame.
Jopay, kakatain? Huwag ka nang mawala ngayon. You belong with me. Because you see that I'm the one who send you. So why can't you see? You belong with me.
A love the spike the mic segments because the reaction of the players is just the best. Especially kapag magsiserve sila, no? But this time, during the break, let's take a look at the highlights of entertaining set number 1. It was back and forth, Neil. A little run from VNS towards the end after the second technical timeout. Felt like it was going to be their frame, but the Airmen had a different thing in mind at set point of VNS.
It boils down to the smallest of details in the end frame. I mean, VNS committed that costly service error, and they had a lot of chances to be able to deliver excellent digs to their setter, but they weren't able to pop up those hits from the Airmen. That's why the Philippine Air Force was able to escape VNS. Both teams registered the same number of attack points. The difference really was in the unforced errors. VNS gave up 4 more, one in the crucial stretch of set number 1. You have to learn from that mistake and bounce back here in the second.
And here is the start of the second frame. You mentioned a while ago, you gotta learn, you gotta improve. Yatko managed to run and save that, and there's the first point here for VNS. And you know, if you're VNS, you're gonna be hoping that maybe a bit of a wake-up call the way that they ended the first frame.
Point number 6 for Adviento to support the 9 markers of Wewe Medina for the Philippine Air Force. It has been Haleco. That's why he's already in double digits after that opening set. Salvador provided his support with 5. VNS is off to a hot start.
Yeah, VNS is off to a hot start here, but then, you know, you take a look at the fact that okay, tama na yung score natin. There was a bit of confusion there. So VNS up by 2 after a hot start. But they automatically give a point back to the Air Force with that service error. Haleco had 8 points in their last game and already at double-digit scoring here. 10 points and 10 attacks. So just a much better performance from him. But syempre, as I praise him, he gives the service error away. Ano ba yan, Haleco?
2-point lead for VNS-Nasty. If you're on the side of VNS, ayaw mong masyadong dikit yung score because in the end game, anything could happen. One mistake can cost you the set. That already happened in set number 1.
I mean, they had multiple chances to win that game. There were so many set points saved by the Philippine Air Force, and eventually managed to string a couple more. It's a 1-point lead here for VNS here early in the second. Yatko setting up Adviento, and Adviento thanking Yatko for that one.
Have to credit the setting of the youngster in Yatko. He has been dragging the middle blockers of the Philippine Air Force to commit to their middle. That's why ang laki nung space na naiiwan for the right and left pin.
Salvador, I'm sorry to cut you off, but then Salvador took to the skies and scored one for the Air Force.
On his way to the double-digit mark as well. Loose blocking from VNS-Nasty.
There's loose blocking there. You saw the big gap between the two blockers. Easy pickings as Yatko unable to score there. Salvador again, and that time the blocking works out. Lacuanan will take credit for that one.
I love what VNS-Nasty did in that last sequence. Look at this. Nagpalit ng posisyon si Lacuanan and Yatko. They know that the hitters of the Philippine Air Force will target Zone 1.
And a service ace here. They served the ball well early in frame number 1, talking about VNS managing to string together a couple of aces, and here's their first one of frame number 2.
They tallied 3 service aces in set number 1. That can be the best friend of VNS. It's easier for them to set up their net defense pag galing sa broken play itong Philippine Air Force. Defense also works better when they serve heavily.
De Feria able to save that one. The soft touch, the coverage is good here from the Air Force. Here's Salvador again. Yatko goes to the other side. They manage to score. And Wewe Medina made something out of nothing. Had to adjust in midair. Let's take a look at that again.
Great adjustment. He was still squaring off for the defensive sequence para sa VNS. Pero bilis nung balik ng bola. So he tried his best to backpedal as fast as he can to approach for that attack.
And Domingo tried to get that off the blockers, but it did a tightrope on the net and ended up falling in. And we go to our first technical timeout with VNS firmly in control by 5. Don't go away.
Back inside the Inara Sports Arena in Pasig City for the VNS Griffins. Although they fell short in that last set, rather in that last match of theirs against the Signal HD Spikers, which lasted for 5 sets, the coaching staff commended the team for their stellar performance. They played with fluidity and energy. They were communicating well, and one player that stood out the most for them was Justin Yatko. 22 of the 28 excellent sets of the team were care of Justin, and Justin is one of the players that the team looks up to with his determination and his decision making on the floor. Now for the Griffins, it's just about carrying over that performance, at mas maganda pa kung hihigatan pa nila ito, at it's just about one set at a time. Paolo and Neil?
Yeah, just one set at a time. We've heard about that over and over again. It's almost true in every single sport. One step at a time. Sabi nga nila, boy, ID carrera, kaya you have to go and take it one step at a time.
I love all of these references, Pao.
References to what, Neil? As right now, Vienna is still enjoying a 4-point lead, but then as you saw a while ago, never count the Air Force out. But they do send that to the net, so VNS now have a 5-point lead again.
That's what you want. You want to build a good lead. You want to build that cushion against the Philippine Air Force. Because like in the first set, hindi safe yung 3 points. He will give a free point back to the airmen of that service error.
And at the moment, Domingo with a chance to pull one back and come a bit closer. Yatko chased that one. And the 2 blocking sequence works out there. So Kalasin will take that. Again, you can never count out the Air Force here. We saw a while ago as Haleko will actually get the point for that one. We saw a while ago that it didn't matter how dire the situation looked like. They were able to manage a fight back of their own and claim the first frame.
Where Medina will strike back. Same target, zone 1.
And one of 2 double-digit scorers in this game so far. Of course, the other one being Haleko of the Air Force. A good scoring performance for both of them. Medina had 19 points in the last one against the Signal HD Spikers. Ulabat able to save that to Yatko. Now the setup, Haleko with the defensive effort again at the net. The adjustment there, Kalasin, and the soft touch there from Villegas works.
Pass was a bit tight for Ronchet Villegas, but good thing he's one of those setters na aggressive din pagdating sa atake. Great decision to go for that dump ball. Nobody home for VNS-Nasty.
Villegas with the serve. Yatko set that up. Soft touch for Wewe, works out as they were unable to just push that across, talking about the Air Force.
He's been showcasing his creativity in this ball game, showing us the variety of hits that he has under his belt.
11 serving 7 now, as VNS are going to try and avoid the close game, as you mentioned a while ago, the top of this frame, Neil, because if the game is close, even by 2 or 3 points, the Air Force could turn the game on its heads again. Here's Medina to serve. Now a 5-point lead. Also 6 excellent receptions here for Medina. A very all-around performance so far. Cajolo, the door just slammed at his face.
Cornell just roofing Cajolo.
13-7 at the moment, and the Philippine Air Force call for time. Let's listen in.
Hindi pwede ganyan ang nangyayari sa atin. Habang tumatagal, naglolobo na naglolobo. Hindi natin inilalaban yung sa taas tsaka yung pasa natin Naglalaro lang kayo doon na wala, basta magawa lang namin ng ganun. Hindi pwede.
Ito, pre.
Kailangan mayroong tayong isip.
Ito pre explain ko lang. Yung bola kanina dumudulo. Pumupunta kayo doon pero hindi nyo tinutuloy yung action nyo. Naghihintay kayo sa baba. Ano nangyayari sa depensa? Kumukulapse, di ba? Kasi nandun kayo sa net pero hindi naman kayo naghaharang ng kamay. Kanina, ilang beses yun? 2. Tapos pagdating dito, alam nyo na cross ang bablock pagka single block, hindi kayo nakaredy sa depensa. Tama naman yung block niya. So sino na may problema? Ayaw nyo mag-communicate Go up.
Well, that says a lot. The lack of communication, the lack of follow-through on certain actions has been an issue so far for the Philippine Air Force in this frame in particular. Neil, very plainly put, very frank yung huddle na yun.
Daming nasabi ni Coach Jeffrey Malabanan, and he's definitely not happy with how they are performing, because they won set number 1 na dikit, but now they're allowing VNS to pull away. So they were successful in icing the server of VNS-Nasty, where Medina will be forced to give up a free point to the Philippine Air Force.
Of course, can they take advantage of that turn? Kulabat, was blocked well. Here's a chance here. Banak sends it to the wing, and kept alive and able to watch that go out.
Banak almost got that ball, but he just listened to his teammates as they shouted na outside na yung bola.
I just had to leave that, and perfect so far. In terms of, they mentioned the communication was an issue. That was well communicated. And unable to reach that. Banak hits the deck. Unable to get that, but he's okay. Good answer here coming from the Nasty, because that was a nasty hit.
Viento this time targeting the hands of the Air Force block. Still a 5-point lead for VNS-Nasty. They've managed to maintain that lead. They're trying to just pull away and equalize everything.
Much more steady frame here, as emphasized by that soft touch coming from Kulabat.
Reaction time has been slower for the Airmen here in the second set. It was a high drop ball coming from Kenneth Kulabat.
Well, you know, the last timeout from the Air Force, they called that timeout because they were in the receiving end of a 3-0 run. But even with that timeout, there was little slowing down this VNS team, who are trying to send us to our second technical timeout. And they're going to do that courtesy of Adviento, scoring off the block.
It's the same strategy for Adviento, targeting the shorter blocker in Paul Salvador.
And it is a 16-9 lead going to the second technical timeout. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Pancake o puto?
Puto.
Cakes or chocolates?
Chocolates.
Ace or kill?
Ace.
High cut or low cut shoes?
Low cut.
Party out or chill at home?
Chill at home.
Set number 2.
Arena Plus, Astig sa sports. And again, what I like is that sometimes coming from the break, we get to know more about our athletes here. Their choices. Sometimes, kung pwede sila maging artista in terms of singing, doesn't really work out all the time. And that one works out there for the Philippine Air Force as they hit double digits here in set number 2. We saw a minor comeback a while ago from the Philippine Air Force where they were down 21-24 and were still able to win the frame. Let's see if they can do something here. Now down 16-10. And the blocking does not work out as the ball just sailed over.
Lacuanan hits it off the face of Domingo. That's the disadvantage siguro of being really tall. Pag lumusot yung bola, pwede talaga tumama sa mukha mo. But now, VNS will continue to shuffle their players. Motol will check in alongside Adrian Imperial.
Well, you know, you have to look at it the other way, didn't he? Like, what if he scored with his face? Anong tawag natin dyan, di ba? And here is VNS-Nasty, who sends it straight to the net. 17-11 here. Let's see if the Philippine Air Force could manage a little run of their own. A while ago, as we mentioned, they were able to turn things around in their favor. This will be a bigger effort. Imperial gave it to Kulabat. Coverage was there though. Naman si Salvador. Imperial back to Kulabat, and that time getting that off the blockers.
Salvador continues to be the target of the hits of Kulabat and Adviento. Pero ang maganda doon, Pao, nahahawakan pa din naman niya. It's just that the control is not there pa for the block of Salvador.
Speaking of Salvador, tried to get a check ball there, but will not be able to find the finger. 19 serving 11 here, 5 points, 3 attacks, and 2 aces for Kenneth Kulabat, who is trying to continue his hot streak from the last one. He had 21 big points in the last game against the Signal HD Spikers.
Jerry Labrador will play outside to replace Salvador. He's originally a middle blocker, so this is an interesting substitution for Coach Jeffrey Malabanan.
Ooh, and there was nothing Labrador could do about that as VNS now hit the 20-point mark.
Motol getting his first point of the match, coming off a 16-point output that game against Signal.
Here's Kulabat, and he has a couple of aces, but there's a service error. He was looking at the contact that he had. He didn't have the right contact needed. It's an 8-point lead here for VNS. The Air Force trying to inch a bit closer here, make this a bit more competitive, and you never know if they can steal it. Aquanan to the other side, and
yes, that point will go to VNS. There was a check ball on the blocker.
And they will challenge this, I believe. They're having conversation right now.
It hit the head of Cajolo. There was a check ball. They will not push through.
Yeah, because it's ironing in challenges, so they had to admit it straight away. Here's Lacuanan again. Jaleko, stuffed by the blockers, and Motol thought about it. That was almost just a reaction, a reflex, and they're excited that he was able to control himself. Let's take a look at that again.
After losing the first set 29-27, VNS now holds on to a convincing 10-point lead. Pagulong will check back in to serve as their defense specialist.
Yeah, you know, 10-point lead, a well-deserved 10-point lead. If you're VNS, you're looking at your performance so far and saying that's more like it compared to that lackluster set number 1. Pagulong able to save that, and wow, what a stop there. Kept that alive. I don't know how he did it.
That was a legal block.
Yes, it was. Oh, but 4 touches for VNS. Sayang naman yung effort na yun, but what a sequence there. I had no idea how to describe that, to be honest.
Bornell just used his height. Nagbakasakali na lang. Just put your hands up. You'll never know. Might get a check ball.
Jaleko, soft touch. Great coverage. Great effort here for VNS. Kalasin able to get the block there. Jaleko, the push, no good, and it's still alive. The Air Force looking for some sort of offense, and they find it.
Just the right amount of power in that top spin to get a break point. VNS is just 3 points away from equalizing.
Right now, 22-14 is the count. 8 points, the gap here. And that one almost hit our camera in the gallery. So 23-14, the count. Let's take a look at that again.
All of the substitutions of VNS have been working for them.
Well, they have to, because as we mentioned a while ago, it's a short bench for VNS. And that time, service out, so a little respite here for the Air Force, but a long way to go. Here's Villegas, trying to keep the Air Force in flight. And that time off the blockers, nothing they could do. And there is Bornell trying to apologize for what he felt was could have been a facial. Quite sure. Let's take a look at that again.
Yep.
Yeah, right on the head of Jaleko. And that was a stinging serve, but dealt well with Cajolo, able to push that. Imperial with the set to Kulabat. Kalasin, the coverage there. Imperial again. And no late drama here. No throwaways from VNS as they take this as straightforward as it comes. 25-15 at the end of set number 2. They're tied at 1 frame apiece. And VNS already making good after what was a slow start to this game here today. Don't go away. Set number 3 when we return.
It's raining in Manila. Raining in Manila, hindi ka ba nilalamig?
Aalis tayo sa tunay na mundo.
Jopay. Dalhin kita sa aming bahay, di tayo. Okay na yan.
Always enjoy Spike the Mic and Wewe Medina there with his own rendition of those classic hits. Of course, one of those hits will be a classic soon enough. Then look at some of the highlights here in set number 2. Very straightforward here in favor of the VNS-Nasty, who was able to bounce back after a disappointing set number 1. It was clinical, it was efficient, it was exactly what VNS wanted. Neil, you take a look at the difference between sets 1 and 2 in terms of the performance of VNS. What was it in your opinion?
That was just the recovery of VNS. They know how they play, they know their potential. The first set wasn't it for VNS, but here in the second set, they made sure to get the advantage in all of the skill categories. 15 attacks, 4 blocks, and the 2 service aces. The Philippine Air Force had a very difficult time in setting up their own offense. And the 10-point disparity was pretty straightforward.
Yeah. You know, it's funny that you mentioned that it wasn't it for VNS in set number 1, or as the kids say these days, it wasn't giving.
Yeah.
VNS 25-15 in set number 2, 15-7 in attack points. Kulabat there on your screens, who had 21 in the last game. Today doesn't need him to score as much, because right now only 6 points for him today, Neil.
Wewe Medina has been at the forefront of the offense of the VNS-Nasty Griffins with 13 markers. On the flip side, it has been Haleko with 11. As I mentioned a while ago, hindi man makuha ng ganun kadaming puntos itong si Kenneth Kulabat. You can count on him in the back row for service reception and digging.
Right now, 1-0, still in favor. Right now, 1-0 in favor of VNS as they take the first point of this frame. You know, we saw a while ago that there was a great response for VNS. Now is a chance for Air Force to show that they can reply as well. And that time, the push in between, right into the chest, rather, of the Air Force blocker.
Block was late for the Philippine Air Force. And Haleko was far from the net.
Yeah. And it was supposed to be a 3-0 start, but the service error gives it the other way.
VNS-Nasty has to recognize that serving is their advantage in this game. In the second set, ang dami nilang magagandang serves. Kaya nahirapan rin talaga si Ronchet Villegas. He was chasing after that ball for most of the time.
And that time trying to get a check, but I believe there will be a net fault on the Air Force.
VNS continuing their stellar performance in the second set by getting an early 2-point lead against the Philippine Air Force.
Here's Medina. Villegas with the setup. And a net touch there from Kulabat, so the point will go the other way.
Right now, the Philippine Air Force just needs to focus on their first pass. Kasi pagdating naman sa atake, they can easily convert. Pag umaabot sa setter's box yung first ball.
And Panak managing or trying to save that. A lot of effort, but unable to get the decisive touch. So 4-2 here in favor of VNS. And that time sending it straight to the net. So we saw a while ago that VNS, you mentioned it a while ago, Neil, that the service game of VNS was one of the things that they could really hang their hats on. But a couple of service errors here early on allows the Philippine Air Force to come within one. Kulabat. That time put that straight into the hands of Domingo, but then it goes straight down.
Full power on that hit from Kenneth Kulabat. It was already a tight double block, but somehow lumagpas pa din yun. sa net for VNS.
Well, Kulabat's one of the players that, once it gets going, tough to stop, could score in bunches. Speaking of, Kulabat that time, the triple block works out. They go to Medina instead, and Medina unable to score. And credit Salvador for the effort. Tried to jump into the crowd. But after the ad board, there's actually another railing there. Ito, tignan natin ulit. You see there, he'll try to jump over the ad board. He sort of does, but may isa pang railing doon. And of course, the serve sent straight to the net here. Again, the service errors starting to pile up here for VNS in set number 3.
They've committed 2 or 3 unforced errors on the service line. Yung mga puntos na walang kahirap-hirap for your opponent.
Kulabat. Air Force sending a free ball the other way. Kulabat again, and that time hit the antenna. I've never seen so many people point at the antenna at the same time.
Lacuanan was asking for a slide attack. He was open for that hit, but Yatko decided to go to Kulabat on the left pin.
Aholo with the serve. 4 unforced errors already here for VNS in this frame, but they still lead by 2 after Lacuanan scores.
He's been wanting to do that. He has been asking for the ball.
7 serving 5 here. Good serve there from Kulabat, and this will be a free ball to deal with here for VNS-Nasty. Wewe Medina. And able to watch that go away. And my partner Neil Flores showing everyone that his reflexes ay pang-analyst na lang. 8-5 here in this one as we go to our first technical timeout. Don't go away.
Kayo po ay nakatutok sa Spikers Turf Open Conference 2024 as the Philippine Air Force Airmen play catch-up. Their head coach, Coach Jeff Malabanan, challenging the team because he feels that they are not giving their 100%. They lack energy, focus, and intent. They need to put more emphasis on defense. At nagtag pa ni Coach Jesse Lopez ang importansya ng pasa. They need to adjust their offensive pattern as well. Dahil walang palo ang walang maayos na pasa.
You know, Bailey's is the only courtside reporter I know, Neil, na may backup dancer habang nagre-report. And again, of course, VNS, a lot to smile about, by the way, with the performance here so far. Na-report ni Bailey's yung frustration ng Philippine Air Force in terms of the coaching staff. Narinig naman natin kanina na napaka-prangka ang coaching staff sa kanila. And the message is still clear, Neil. They need to do better.
They really need to adjust their service reception and defense pattern. There's no coverage on the floor for the Philippine Air Force.
Let's take a look at that again. Lacuanan with the block and the celebration to boot. 9 serving 6 here. That's Lacuanan on the service line, trying to push the lead up here for VNS. Medina able to find the space.
He's been racking points from left to right. Talking about Wewe Medina, that's the 17th point of Medina in this ball game, and now VNS again is starting to pull away. That's just too short for Lacuanan.
Yeah, that was a turn to the bench straight away to apologize. Tama Lacuanan.
+1 for Air Force. 7 serving 10.
7 serving 10 here. The Air Force are not out of, well, really not in the woods just yet. They are still within touching distance somewhat. Domingo looking for Villegas. Villegas sends it back to the other wing. Here's Medina. Good coverage there coming from the Air Force Airmen. Here's Medina. And Medina will score off the block.
Every time where Medinas go up against Ronchet Villegas, kadalasan siya talaga yung nakakapuntos.
Here's Yatko with the serve. Villegas will set this one up on a plate again. And that would be Haleko with another point.
It's been a while since we last saw a smooth play from the Philippine Air Force. They need more of that. They're still playing catch-up with VNS-Nasty.
I want to find out just if they can get Haleko going a bit more, because he did have 10 points in the first frame for the Philippine Air Force. Of course, at the moment, he's at 13. Make that 14. Well, that's what you call calling them out, Neil, and it works.
Yeah, somebody needs to match the output of Wewe Medina. So far, it has been Haleko for the Philippine Air Force. But one of the things that's really missing para sa Airmen, yung activation ng middle. So we don't see a lot of hits coming from the middle. It's usually Haleko, Cajolo, and Salvador from opposite ends of the court.
12-9 is the count here as the Air Force give that point back. 12 serving 9. Wewe Medina on the service line here, who has been arguably the key offensive piece here for VNS-Nasty. And was that overcooked or was there a touch? And according to the Air Force, there should have been a check ball, so they will challenge this one.
Point awarded to Air Force.
The point awarded to Air Force, rather. So it's just a 2-point lead here for VNS.
10 serving 12.
10 serving 12. The Air Force still on the comeback trail as Kulabat got that off the blocker, but the coverage was there. Good defense shown here by VNS. Kulabat with a little swing, but Villegas was there. Villegas sends it to the other way. And let's see who can get the decisive kill. Oh, what a save there coming from the Air Force. And that time in between the blockers and the net, nothing that the Air Force could do about it. VNS climb up now 14-9.
Again, it was a loose block for the Philippine Air Force, and every time they deliver a loose block, they take advantage talaga ng wing spikers ng VNS-Nasty. Official score will be 13-10
yeah.
for VNS-Nasty, 10 for the Philippine Air Force.
Yeah, so it's 13-10 right now. So there was a little confusion with the scoreboard on the side. Here's Villegas with the setup. And Kulabat trying to be opportunistic there. And the two-block effort here coming from VNS, pushing them to 14-10.
That's also one of the disadvantages pag karamihan ng bola pumupunta sa left pin. Di na rin sinasabayan ng blockers ng VNS yung ibang hitters ng Philippine Air Force. So Ronchet Villegas needs to give opportunities also to the other players on the floor to score. It's a better choice, but they get blocked.
Here's Kulabat. And looking for a check. They won't get it, so it would go the way of the Air Force. Calasin, who did not play in the last game for the Philippine Air Force, on the service line here, trying to come within 2. Score at 14-11. There's Kulabat.
And yes, there was a check ball on Ralph Calasin. Tried to avoid
it, yeah.
the ball.
I want to make the Matrix reference, Neil, but I don't think majority of our audience would know what that is anymore. 15-11 here in favor of VNS. Yes, it is Adrian Imperial on the service line here. And the effort there coming from Philippine Air Force, just not on target. That is Salvador, who is unable to keep that in. And we go to a second technical timeout with a 5-point lead for the VNS-Nasty. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Well, the postseason of the association is almost here. Watch the 2024 NBA playoffs starting April 20th on NBA TV Philippines. One Sports and Pilipinas Live. Hashtag everyone's game. Hashtag NBA on Signal. And of course, our commiserations to all the Lakers fans out there, especially Direct Nick Earnshaw. Magaling talagang Denver Nuggets. Here's Villegas with the setup, and the block works there. Lakwanan, who has been very good at the net, pairing up with Kulabat.
6-point lead for VNS-Nasty. On their way to repeating their performance in the second set. Look at the kill blocks of VNS. They have already tallied 3 in this set alone. Still no kill block for the Philippine Air Force.
And Caholo, though, able to pull that one back, just making it a 5-point lead. Just a bit more manageable, but they need to get going here with the VNS now knocking on the door of the 20-point mark.
And the Philippine Air Force just needs to focus on their defense. May it be service reception or digging, net defense. Yan yung mga kailangan nilang i-adjust because when you look at the numbers, the attacking has always been there for the Philippine Air Force. Set number 1, set number 2, nandun naman yun eh. But sometimes hindi sila nakakapag-register ng kill block. So that has been the difference.
Well, the point will go to the Air Force after net touch, but then everyone's just checking on Kulabat right now because he slammed into our ad board.
The ad board.
Punched the ad board. I don't know if the ad board is okay, but the important part is Kulabat is. So 17-13, and the ball sent long. I think you can actually see which ad board Kenneth Kulabat made contact with when we see the entire floor. And speaking of, service line here, Kenneth Kulabat. Villegas with the setup. Oh, and that was a stinging hit from Caholo. Nothing stopping that one.
Such a clean hit from Caholo. Perfectly executed reverse set from Ronchet Villegas. Just need to use Domingo as a decoy to snatch a blocker or 2.
Here's Salvador. 4-point lead still. You know, you come within 3, it becomes just that much closer. But as I say that, Now pushing their lead up again, 19-14.
Bartolome scores off the right pin. Again, it's the substitutions of VNS really that has been contributing big time in crucial junctures of the game. 8 points already for the middle blocker in Lacuanan. Balanced effort on the offensive end and on the defensive end of things.
And that will be a score off the block. Brian Haleco at the point. 15 serving 19 here, just a 4-point lead. Now, VNS are up ahead, but it's by no means comfortable just yet. And that was a stinging effort that pushes the lead up, and they cracked the 20-point barrier. Couple of substitutions here.
Bartolome was 2 for 2.
Moto Adviento coming in a while ago. Kanina na-mention natin that anyone who comes in for VNS has been putting on a good shift here for the Nasty. Justin Yatko with the serve. Villegas with the setup again. And I missed the ball. It did hit my head. But 2016. Let's take a look at that again.
Welcome to the ball game, Pablo Del Rosario.
Now the point going the way of the Air Force. 4-point lead here. Motul. And whenever he's been put in the right situations, he has always had a positive contribution so far in this game.
He was the middle blocker in that last play, delivering a big quick attack for VNS.
Push there, not amounting to anything just yet, but Yatko with the touch, I believe, or overreaching rather.
Well, was too close to the net for Yatko to save. That's such a difficult set to make.
Tough angle for sure. 21-17 as the Air Force are still looking to find a way back into this one.
Moto will get the point back for VNS.
Well, did we not mention that anyone who comes from the bench of VNS here so far has done a great job at contributing here in the favor of the Nasty. Here's Moto. Villegas with the setup. Adviento with the defensive effort, and that one just had too much mustard on that from Cajolo.
Cajolo has been the bright light for the Philippine Air Force. Again, we're still looking for the support behind the production of the wing spikers. But this is a closer set compared to the second frame.
4-point lead here. Popped up by Domingo. Here's Kulabat. And trying to find the line, will not get it, will be out. So the Philippine Air Force come within 3.
Similar situation in the opening set. Philippine Air Force was able to erase the 3-point lead established by VNS. Let's see if they can replicate the result.
Yeah, remember, at one point it was 24-21, and the Philippine Air Force were at 21 and were able to win it. Quanan with the push there, but it comes back. Cajolo, not that time. They go to Kulabat, and that hits the antenna. Second time for him today, and it is just a 2-point advantage, 22-20.
Set was just too high for Ken Kulabat.
Timeout called on the floor. Let's listen in what they have to say.
Kung kailan sakto yung risk, kung kailan sakto sa'yo sa setter's box, tsaka ka nagbibigay ng mataas, pag lumayo yung bola, hindi mo tinataas.
Huwag mo na laruin, pre.
Diba? Nag-experiment tayo. Ayaw nyo tapusin pa eh. Tapusin nyo na, one pass muna.
Baka manakaulit yung set, ah. Tara.
Yeah, Kenneth Colabat works best with a shoot set. Yung approach pa lang kasi niya upon the arrival of the ball sa kamay ng setter, uma-approach na siya. So pag binigyan mo ng napakataas na bola, in a way malulunod mid-air. That's also the adjustment that Yatko needs to make in this next play, because the Philippine Air Force, they're looking good.
Yeah.
Just down by 2.
They're looking good. They're coming to life here. I remember in the first frame, it was just one of those things wherein they caught VNS sleeping towards the end. The second frame was not as competitive as we're seeing here. Palasin to Cajolo, and Cajolo's been a man on a mission here. That time stopped. Colabat, almost a miscue there. Who did they turn to? Villegas will set this up. Salvador, not that time. Colabat pops that up to De Feria. Free ball to play with here. Who did the Air Force turn to? And that one overcooked, and the point will go back here to VNS, who are all of a sudden in set point. Rather 23-20. And Philippine Air Force sue for time here. Let's listen in.
Mali yung decision making eh. Kailangan yung papalo ka, doon ka nagda-drop ball. Paluin mo. Kasi pa-endgame na nga. Mas madali sila makakakaroon ng kumpiyansa kung ida-drop ball mo, ibabalik sa atin yan ng bola. Yung pinalo mo, no, kaso away ka naman. Diba? Anong dapat? Pag maganda set, pero hindi dapat lang ito kasi meron ka nito. Meron kang palo ng tao, gamitin mo.
Mali ka kasi ng gamit sa sitwasyon. Iba yung hinihingi sa'yo ng sitwasyon. Iba yung ang ginagawa mo, opposite. Kung kailan mo dapat banatan, tsaka ka nagda-drop ball. Magda-drop ball ka lang pagka naka-establish yung block. Galing sa transition, yung quicker nila pahabol.
Again, just listening to the huddle here of the Philippine Air Force, it's very frank, very direct, and let's see if the message is heard loud and clear, because it was loud and clear to us, but of course, can you execute? That is the question. 3-point lead here for VNS, just 1 point away from forcing a set point, and a chance here for the Philippine Air Force to try and replicate what they did in set number 1. Medina able to save that. Who did they turn to? They go to Colabat. Triple block. It works out.
They've checked Colabat multiple times already here in this match. Triple block, organized triple block set up by the Philippine Air Force.
The Air Force just covered the skies there. 23-21. The count here is Abdul will check in. Ancheta on the service line here for the Philippine Air Force. Just down by 2. Could this be deja vu? As VNS, who looked in control at certain points of this frame, are at risk of allowing the Air Force to come away with this one again. But that time, nothing stopping the Nasty for coming within set point. But stop me if you heard this, Neil. 24-21 in favor of VNS.
VNS will get to set point of that slide attack from Lacuanan. Yatko has to recognize the efficiency of Lacuanan in that type of play. Hindi pa nababantayan ng Philippine Air Force, so they can keep on going to that. De Feria will pick that up.
Medina with the swing, but the blocking was just too solid, too set up, and they've saved another set point.
We're seeing better net defense from the Philippine Air Force. Back-to-back 3-man blocks. Pag ganun ka-organized yung blocking pattern ng airmen, ang daling ibalik ng bola sa VNS. So VNS also has to prepare by putting coverage there. Ooh, tough hit from Medina. That will be outside.
And they're asking for a check ball, talking about the VNS-Nasty. So I believe they're going to sue for time, talking about VNS. But there will be no challenge. 24-23 is the count. And so let's listen in instead.
pasa lang muna. Again, tumingin ka sa blocker. Kung nasa yung good single block. Pilitin natin, pre! Sige, isa lang. Natin na na, kami set. Pilitin natin. 7 minutes!
Well, VNS are trying to avoid a collapse like they had in set number 1. 24-23 is the count now. It was a bit similar a while ago, 24-21 in set number 1 before the Philippine Air Force were able to come in and force an extended frame over and over again and eventually stole it. Will it be a bit of deja vu here, or will VNS finally put this set to bed? We'll find out with this serve coming from Paul Salvador of the Philippine Air Force Airmen. Medina, that time, making sure that there will be no late drama here, and it is going to be a 2-1 lead in terms of sets in favor of the VNS-Nasty, and that was more like it for them and their coaching staff. Don't go away, we'll be back with set number 4 after a short break.
One more to win this match.
To 1-4. And do the word I speak before you make you feel. Yan, Jopay. Dadalhin kita sa aming bahay. Di tayo mag-aaway. Aalis tayo sa tunay na mundo.
Well, you know, it's called spike the mic because sometimes it makes you want to spike the mic. At the moment here, it is a 2-1 lead in favor of the VNS-Nasty Griffins. We'll take a look at the highlights of set number 3. Again, Paulo De Rosario here alongside Neil Flores. Neil, you take a look at what happened in set number 3. It almost looked like a mirror image of set number 1, except this time around, VNS were able to get the job done at the end game.
Yeah, and VNS just displayed the perfect passing in that last play. You can see how crucial the first ball is in situations like that. 24-23 non-negotiable. You have to pass that ball to the center so that they can choose the best option for attack. And this time around, VNS just gave out so many errors to the side of Philippine Air Force. 12 free points. That's why the score was really close, 25-23. But the attacks, medyo malayo yung disparity in that aspect. VNS was able to get double the amount of attack points compared to Philippine Air Force. But Philippine Air Force was able to adjust their net defense in the tail end of set number 3. So that is also a good sign that they will still have one more chance to extend this match to a decider. Boitrago will be starting this set. He's coming off a very successful beach volleyball pros tour in Nuvali. They won the silver medal.
Again, you talk about entering the Sandman. Kanina we about Abdilia, but then of course Botago coming in here as another Sandman.
It's not easy also to transition from beach to indoor.
So take a look at the leading scorers here. Medina with 17 for VNS, Aleco with 15. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Talking about transition, you know, it's true for both the men and the women's. You know, I've been talking to some of the women who transitioned from beach to indoor, and they're saying that it could take even more than a year to transition completely in terms of habits. That time, Adviento with the push and giving the first point here of VNS in the frame.
In the sets that VNS won, the trend has been to establish an early lead compared to the first set na back and forth talaga yung puntos.
So 17 from Medina after the 3 frames. Adviento had 12. Jaleco for the Air Force had 15. And Cajolo with 11. So a couple of double-digit scores here for both these sides. As the Philippine Air Force will regain the lead here 2-1. But you talked about it a while ago, Neil, na if it's a tight ball game, VNS know that they are going to be in trouble considering what the Air Force are capable of.
Motol will get the starting nod as the middle blocker. Adviento will continue to attack. That will be point number 14 for Renier Adviento.
I remember Adviento only had 2 points in the last game for VNS against the Signal HD Spikers, and has more than doubled his production, tripled his production. I don't want to divide it by 2. I forgot what he has at the moment. Motol with the serve. And I believe that will be a violation, lifting violation here against the VNS Griffins.
Catch and throw. Parang slam dunk yan in basketball terms.
I don't know if it's the equivalent, but I think it might be, yeah. Parang pang-alley-oop. And it is still alive here. Gotta keep playing. They give it to Salvador. Salvador with the hit. Well covered there. And of course, when in doubt, turn to your captain, Kenneth Culaban. Culabat with another point.
I would say that Culabat has been quiet on the offensive end. He has only registered 9 points.
But we say that considering that the standards for him in terms of scoring are incredibly high. You're absolutely right. Relative to his average, it's a bit low. Here's Salvador. Slowed down by the blocking. The coverage there as well. Culabat not that time. Yatko looking for Culabat again. And this will be a free ball for the Air Force to play with. Who do they turn to? Salvador. Changed in midair. But the touch from Yatko on the net.
More violations for VNS. They had the 12 miscues set number 3. That's a lot. That's one of the aspects of the game that they have to focus on. So all of the other skill set categories nandun na for the Griffins, and they do want to end this in 4th sets.
Here's Salvador. And Salvador able to get that beyond Medina.
Salvador displaying more control on his hits. Takes a look at the blockers first and just uses that wrist action to get that down the line.
Well, their backs are against the wall here. Talking about the Philippine Air Force, and they are now up by 2. And makes that just by 1 after that service error. Cajolo overcooks it. And here's Kenneth Culabat. Very lethal on the serve, especially in set number 1. Ended the first frame with the 2 aces. And as I talk about how great he is on the service line, gives a service error to tie the ball game up. Or rather, 6-4.
Yeah, lead is back to the Philippine Air Force. Welcome back, pal.
Yeah. It feels like it. As Salvador is on the service line here, 7 points and 7 attacks. Oh, and that had a lot of mustard in it. Yatko with the serve, getting that off the blockers.
Medina register his 19th point of that attack. Great acquisition actually from VNS. He was with another club team before this conference.
At the moment, just a 1-point lead here for the Air Force. Ball pops up and saved right in front of us. Culabat sends it the other way. They turn to Domingo, and Domingo's able to score. Our look at that again as Domingo will get that just beyond the reach here of Culabat. Oh, he's making it difficult for Kenneth. Here's Harold Domingo. 5 points with 3 blocks to go with it. Just we talk about the height, the length, and Domingo has been using it well. Salvador able to save that. And it should be a free ball here for VNS. Yatko.
Oh,
and that was just clean from Wewe Medina.
It's like a double quick attack for the Griffins. Be quick, and then a shoot C for Wewe Medina.
And that was picture perfect. And it's 6 serving 7 here. Chance to tie things up. Hits the tape. And Haleko will have a chance here, but Salvador able to send a free ball the other way. Yatko with the setup, and the point will go to the Philippine Air Force and will send us to our first technical timeout. 8-6, 2-point lead here for the Air Force. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
End of the first technical time.
Nagbabalik ang Spiker Surf Open Conference 2024 live at the Inar Sports Arena in Pasig City for the VNS-Nasty Griffins. They are playing with more rhythm and aggressiveness compared to their prior sets. Their environment and body language much more composed, more encouraging of each other, and they continue to remind one another not to relax. Their veterans, Kenneth Culabat, Wewe Medina, motivating the team, lighting up their energy to close this game out with a win. Paolo and Neil.
Thank you so much. I was very excited for that report. And of course, the Philippine Air Force are eager to make this a 5-setter because, you know, Neil missed working with me. Therefore, does once more sets. 2-point lead here for the Philippine Air Force. And they will make it a 3-point lead. And Culabat tried to take out a ad board to be able to reach that, but ad board stayed strong. Let's take a look at that again. Yeah, just a bit too beyond Kenneth Culabat there. 3-point lead here now for the Philippine Air Force. It has been a strong start for them here in set number 4. The swing, the hit, and the blocking working out.
Don't look now, Pao. Philippine Air Force will hold on to a 4-point lead. Boitrago getting his 2nd point. Welcome to the match from the Sands to the Taraflex court.
I would argue just as hot sometimes. In the meantime, 4-point lead here. Oh, you know, the blocking, the net defense has been a bit different here for the Philippine Air Force. But then that time, just getting a touch off the blockers on the 2nd attempt.
Still a good sign for the Philippine Air Force. At least nakakakuha sila ng touches on the hits of VNS-Nasty.
Right now, 10-7. The Philippine Air Force currently in charge. Wewe Medina on the service line here for VNS. does not look like a Sands player here, Neil.
But you can definitely see the hang time and the vertical jump of James Boitrago.
Oh, no Sands slowing him down here.
Must feel weird for him.
Yeah, I know.
Parang walang humakatak sa kanya pababa. But he's been contributing crucial points for the Philippine Air Force.
On the other end, though, Adviento has been on a tear here scoring-wise. Adding another one here for VNS. 11-8 is the score, where Medina on the service line again. Oh, rather, it is Motol on the service line. The setup and the score. Adviento has come alive here in set number 4.
He wants to match the output of Huehue Medina. Point number 17 for Ronier Adviento. They will be the ones playing catch-up. Fourth set.
Here's Rocky Motol. And there's too much on that. 12-9 now in favor of the Philippine Air Force. 3-point lead. Serve here from the Air Force. Yatko, the setup to Adviento again, and that time a net touch coming from the Air Force sends a point back. So a couple of changes here. We talked a while ago about how VNS have been doing a great job with their rotations, their substitutions, and the contributors from the bench, no matter who they are, have been positive. So let's see if they'll have a positive effect on this game. As it'll be Adrian Imperial on the service line here for the VNS-Nasty Griffins. And overcooked or not, that will be a check ball. So the Air Force up by 3.
Paolo is now up on deck to serve. They've managed to improve their net defense. Now it's the time for you to improve on your services as well.
Oh, there was nothing they could do about that, as Kulabat will pull one back and make it a 2-point ball game.
Kulabat keeping it simple from the right side of the court. Look at the wrist action. Pulido for Ken Kulabat.
11-7-13 here. Ken Kulabat with the serve. And Salvador with the point.
Oh, Salvador finds the hole.
Salvador getting his second win here in the 4th frame.
Another look at that here. And the Air Force are hungry and gunning for a set number 5 and are close to getting it.
Salvador almost in double digits as well. Currently at 8.
That time, too much from Salvador. Lacuanan on the service line, trying to flip things around.
Ralph Lacuanan serving for VNS.
Kept alive. Medina. Great save by Maclang. And meeting at the net, and the point will go to VNS.
VNS is just down by a single point. They're in the perfect position to regain the momentum.
Yes, it's going to be counted as a 4 touch. And he was unable to push that across. Paleko. Pushed by Kulabat. Getting a little help from the net there. And the push there coming from Medina. And don't look down, Ian. All lined up at 14.
Smart push from Huehue Medina. 21 points.
Paleko. Imperial with the setup there. Ball pops up courtesy of Domingo. Free ball to play with for the Nasty. Still alive here. Good rally we're seeing so far. Haleko puts an end to it.
Haleko successful on that sharp cross. Didn't have the space to hit that down the line. Bartolome was already there.
Managed to find the angle there. That was a tough one to find. That's a sharp one. Harold Domingo on the service line. Trying to send this to our second technical timeout. And they do. Buitrago put it beyond doubt, and it is going to be 16-14 going into our second technical timeout. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
End of the second technical timeout of set number 4.
Brace yourselves as athletes and sports lovers have no holds barred conversations with Sean Ildefonso. Watch Sean Time exclusive on Pilipinas Live app. Download and subscribe now. Yung theory ko doon is that people will always answer Sean Ildefonso kasi nakakatakot siya. Batak kasi si Sean. And of course, I love Sean. Congratulations on his show. And always a great personality. And speaking about love, VNS love that finish as Bartolome gets the finish.
That's it for the double sub of VNS. Diento and Yatko will check back in. They try to erase the lead of the Philippine Air Force to the midpoint of set number 4. This can go either way. Buitrago is in the front row. He has delivered a lot of points for the Airmen.
Buitrago. Oh my goodness. He has been coming up big here when it matters the most for the Philippine Air Force.
I was actually wondering why he wasn't in the starting unit when I saw him in uniform. Now he is there providing the points for the Airmen. Slim 2-point lead though. They have to add on to that lead for additional cushion and safety.
Oh, so much on that. They're asking for a check ball. They're going to ask for a challenge. Where Medina was literally pointing fingers. And they are going to check if there is a block touch. Let's see if Medina has a point. 17-15 in favor of the Philippine Air Force, who have been fueled by Buitrago here. And the VNS-Nasty Griffins are going to be hoping that they can pull within 1. So let's see if there is anything valid here. Turn to the camera to determine whether or not there is a check ball. Of course, thank you very much for joining us here on our continuing coverage of the 2024 Spikers Turf Open Conference on Pilipinas Live as we take a look at this challenge here. And no touch, at least to the naked eye and to the slow-mo.
No block touch. So the challenge by VNS is
unsuccessful challenge here from VNS.
The Griffins have one remaining challenge.
18-15, and the Air Force are inching closer to forcing a decisive set number 5.
+1 for the Air Force. 18 serving 15. Ronchet Villegas to serve for the Airmen.
Yatko with the setup. Great save. It pops up and it goes and finds its way to Haleko. And that will be a net touch. Doesn't matter where the ball went. And all of a sudden, VNS within 2 here.
VNS still in this match, still in this set rather. It's trailing by 2, manageable deficit, I would say. They need to convert in the next few rallies. They have a good front line, Bornel, Colabat, and Adviento, but they will give a free point off that service error.
19-16 in a match that we can describe as a battle of attrition here, Neil. It's been close in sets number 1, 3, and now 4. The only dominant frame VNS has had was in set number 2. And oh, what a save here. Kept alive. Free ball to play with from the Air Force. And it goes to Salvador, who scores and gets the 20-point mark here for the Air Force.
One hand was not enough to get that dig for VNS.
And cue the timeout for VNS. Let's listen in.
Tignan yung bola kung saan ka dapat pumasok. Pasok ka lang ng pasok ng A. Hindi ka nakakakuha ng blocker. Yung pasok mo dapat nakabase doon sa receive natin. Receive lang natin na maganda. Malayo pa yan. Sabi ko sa inyo, mag-enjoy kasi kayo sa loob ng court. Go, 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 go!
Well, for VNS, there is an obvious point here that they are not enjoying what's happening. It's showing their body language, and that, of course, results in the play that is being shown. So let's see whether or not VNS could correct that body language as they try and play catch-up against the Philippine Air Force. Still down 20-16. Ryan Haleko with the serve. Got a bit of help from the tape. Oh, and almost a save there.
Tough second ball for the Airmen.
Take a look at that again. And it's just desperate stuff, and the reach was just not good enough.
There will be a substitution on the floor for the Airmen. Ralph Calasin will replace Buitrago. There is a concern on the hand of Buitrago. I think he cut his hand and it is currently bleeding.
Not quite sure how that happened, but they're going to try and stop it. Because, yeah, it is a bit of a concern, as the medics have come out and will try to address it. So there it is. Not for the squeamish here, but our medics are on it. And you know, if you're part of the Philippine Air Force, you're going to be hoping that Buitrago gets back sooner rather than later, because he has had such a positive impact here in this game so far. Looks like there is a wound on his middle finger.
VNS will answer with their own substitution. Motel is back in for Coach JP.
Rocky Motol on the service line and sends it long. 21-17 in favor of the Philippine Air Force.
That's another expensive mistake for VNS.
And it could cost them.
This already happened in the first set. They committed that service error in the end, and that cost them that frame. And now another service error. This is ripe for the taking for the Airmen.
But Kenneth Colabat coming in and getting the VNS Griffins just a bit closer. We saw a while ago that the Air Force were capable of pulling on a bit of a comeback. Let's see if VNS-Nasty have that in them too. Of course, our Bailey Sakot is checking on Buitrago. We're gonna hopefully get an update on him later on. And it'll be a free ball to play with here. somewhat. Kulabat able to score and pull within 21-19.
VNS has to pull out all the stops here. In the tail end of set number 4, where Medina set that up for Kenneth Kulabat.
Timeout, Philippine Air Force.
Timeout on the floor here for the Philippine Air Force. That's in.
Nila, nakaka 2 points na sila. Okay, kuhain natin sa pasa. Set 3, Benok, importante. Lahat ng atake kailangan 100% ng intention nyo sa pagpalo. Sa pasa, importante, magtulungan. Eh, sino receiver?
No.
Ha? Usap kayo.
Gusto mong gamitin to? Pa-receive mo ang pa-backwickin mo para ma-single block si Paul dito. Pagkakataon mo, pag nag-single block ka, pag may receive tayo, receive 1, backwick to, bahala ka kung kanino may bibigay. Pag makita mo yung quicker na sinundan doon, bigay mo dito.
And very tactical here for the Philippine Air Force as they are trying to sustain this lead here. Very precarious, 21-19. VNS, courtesy of Kulabat, have been trying to make inroads in this slim lead. Still, a lot of volleyball to be played here.
Ronnie Adviento serving for VNS.
Adviento on the service line here for VNS. Salvador gets that off the blockers.
Salvador.
Adviento wasn't able to keep that on in play. Maybe thought na mag-aangat because he was there for the chase.
Number 6,
The angle just didn't favor him there. 22-19. The Air Force are looking to extend this as again, they have lost 6 games straight here at this conference, and they probably are the team most hungry for a win. One of the teams most hungry for a win. Now allowed to serve here. As Ancheta will put this in. Kulabat.
Oh, big block there for the Philippine Air Force. That has been the biggest game changer for their squad. Blocking has been the go-to skill set department for the Airmen. Just 2 points away from sending us to a fifth.
Magkasa yung mga yung spiker natin, kailangan cover. Pag walang receive, automatic mataas. Yung pinactice natin. Parang yung last game lang natin. Pero pag maganda yung receive, play 1.
Save VNS!
Well, the VNS-Nasty Griffins trying to remind everyone what we did in practice. And that could be the difference here today. Of course, at the moment, still trailing 23-19 with the Air Force just 2 points away from forcing a 5th and final frame. Here's Ancheta. We'll go troop back to the service line and seeing if he can launch this into another point here for the Airmen. Ken Kulabat and the blocking. You talked about it a while ago, Neil, that this is their go-to skill set, and it has been working well.
Total shutdown against Kenneth Kulabat. Double block working for the Philippine Air Force. Now they get to set point with a 5-point cushion.
Ratko with the setup, and they will save one set point. Can they save 4 more? Better look at that here again. Just the proper swing.
Kenneth Kulabat at the service zone.
Kenneth Kulabat hyper-focused on this. And that'll be a service ace.
Service ace.
Airmen have to be careful. Yung mga paisa-isang puntos. It's a dangerous zone. Have to finish it off in this next play.
Abdul scores off the block, and we are going to a set number 5 here after the Philippine Air Force play their best frame here in this match so far. Take a look at the finishing point here as Abdul will send the Philippine Air Force into a set number 5 here at the United Sports Arena in Pasig. Don't go away. We'll be right back. 25-21 at the end of set number 4, and that means we go into set 5. That's right. Here in the second game of our triple header at the United Sports Arena in Pasig City. Let's take a look at what happened in set number 4. Neil, we talked about how there were just so many heroes here for the Philippine Air Force, and they came out firing exactly when they needed them to be.
They figured it out. I mean, they were able to establish a lot of kill blocks against the attackers of the VNS-Nasty Griffins. Kenneth Colabat's numbers dropped in set number 4 as he was the focus of the defense of the Philippine Air Force. Where Medina still continues to be the leading scorer. 23 for Medina, 17 for Haleco. VNS still had more attacks compared to the Philippine Air Force, but the blocks just really went the way of the Philippine Air Force. VNS also gave 5 more unforced errors. They registered 12 in set number 3 and then 8 in set number 4. So that's a total of 23 points given to the Philippine Air Force.
Yeah, for the +5 error advantage in favor of the Philippine Air Force, and you lose the frame by 4. It just goes to show you how important it is to try and keep the game clean and get your attack points in instead. So, let's see how the Philippine Air Force does here. So, for those wondering, Boitrago is still being treated at the moment. I believe we may get an update later on, but at the moment, it is the Philippine Air Force who are going to try and continue their momentum from set number 4 to try and get a much-needed win here today. Again, both teams will not qualify for the semifinals and are basically fighting for pride here. But as we mentioned a while ago, the Air Force are in the middle of a 6-game losing skid, and they would want to end that before they end their time here. And for those joining us, welcome to the 2024 Spikers Turf Open Conference. It is a 5-setter here in match number 2 in this 3-match day, as the Philippine Air Force draw first blood here in set number 5.
It starts with a kill block from the Airmen. And now they're controlling that department, getting on the board first. And they have the upper hand when it comes to momentum and confidence, coming off a big 4th set win.
Jet Villegas with the serve. And Motoy able to pull that back and even up the scores.
Stare down after that hit.
No, he enjoyed that as we take a look at the attitude coming in as well. Wewe Medina, the star man of the VNS-Nasty Griffins here today. 23 big points and looking for maybe a second ace. Not that time. Slowed down by the blockers. Yatko with a little touch, kept alive there.
Oh, mishit from Motol.
Yeah, you can hear it in the contact. Just didn't hit that cleanly.
Oh, there will be a challenge.
They're challenging a net touch here. So let's see if they do have a point. And if they will get the point. But then it's been a great game here so far between these two. I mentioned a while ago, it felt like at certain points like a battle of attrition, not necessarily quick. And it was almost a test of patience at some points. And so far, each team answering each other with one frame. One frame after the other. So here we are in a decisive set number 5. As they continue to check the net touch on the challenge machine. Thank you very much for joining us again. This is the 2024 Spiker Surf Open Conference on Pilipinas Live and on One Sports Plus. For those just joining us, ako po si Paulo Del Rosario alongside Neil Flores. Bailey's Akot joins us on the sidelines. And of course, after this, we have another great game for you. The Crisscross King Crunchers take on the Savage Spin Doctors. Of course, Crisscross have been one of the teams to watch this conference. One of the exciting additions. We say they're a new team, but every name familiar to all the men's volleyball fans. As we take a look here, is there a net touch? And no, says the replay.
Point will go to the Philippine Air Force. And for those who missed it, again, we already have 2 teams qualified for the semifinals. That's the Signal HD Spikers with the Crisscross King Crunchers. The Navigators Iloilo and PGJC Navy are both tied with a 5-2 record, and just behind them we have the Savage Spin Doctors with a 4-3 record. So that will be a good matchup to watch. Savage needs a win so that they can at least force a tie with one of the teams for that 4th spot. Because this weekend, maghaharap pa yung the Navigators and PGJC Navy. One will go up to 6-2, one will fall to 5-3. So they will need to force that tiebreaker. But first, they have to challenge Mark Espejo and the rest of the King Crunchers.
That's a tough task, Neil. And of course, but an upset is always on the cards. You never know. Since sabi nga nila, bilog ang bola. So that one sends straight to the net.
A short lull will help the VNS-Nasty Griffins. We're crawling to that 15-point mark.
Yeah, they're crawling, and it feels like with every step, there's a punch thrown one way or the other. And that time, that was one thrown by the Philippine Air Force. Kaholo getting the point. Look at that again.
That is point number 15 for Kaholo. So there are 3 players in double digits for the Philippine Air Force. Haleco with 17, Kaholo with 15, Salvador with 10. Oh, easy point. Miscue there for VNS in the back row.
Let's take a look at that again, because Ken Colaban immediately
they were asking for a lifting violation, a catch and throw violation.
Exactly.
Naka-close kasi yung fist nung receiver. So that didn't look like a violation.
Here's Yatko with the setup and the swing and the miss here coming from Motol.
Big lead established by the Philippine Air Force in the 5th set. That's a 3-point lead. That's already a luxury in a decider.
Yeah. Of course, the question now is there a final kick here coming from VNS? Of course, how good would it feel here for the Air Force to steal a win here? Especially after the 6-game losing skid that they are currently on. Ralph Lacuanan given a yellow card here for misconduct. Not quite sure what happened. Serve here coming from the Air Force. Kulabat, oh, stuffed by the block.
4-point lead established by the Philippine Air Force. Bingo has been a force in front of the net.
Hindi po may beating set. Paraanan nyo na. Hawak tayo hataw ng hataw. Mag-smart kasi tayo sa atake natin eh. Hataw tayo ng hataw. Ha? O kalimutan nyo na yon. Ang layo-layo pa ng score na yan. Kaya-kaya pa habulin yan, ha? Go!
Well, for VNS Griffins, they just want more thought put into their attacks, and that has been an issue. We saw a while ago, grabbing mga hataw as mentioned in the huddle, but then the strategy, the thinking, not quite there in this frame in particular.
And when you're facing an established double block, the more you insert power, pag bumalik yan, mas mabilis din. So it's going to be hard for the coverage to get the follow-up.
So let's see if the Air Force could double down here. It is a 4-point lead in the race to 15. Ralph Calasin to serve. Here's Yatko. And able to get that right at Domingo.
Moto will make up for mistake earlier. Double sub will come in for Coach JP de Guzman.
Here's Imperial on the service line. It is a 3-point deficit that the VNS-Nasty Griffins will try to overcome. Soft touch, covered well by VNS. Here's Ken Kulabat. Maklang with the defensive effort. We go the other way here, and Salvador able to block that, but then well covered here by VNS. No team giving way, and Salvador Maklang with the cover. And we keep going here. What an effort from these two squads. Free ball to play with for VNS. Kulabat not there. Villegas with the cover. Salvador with the hit. No good still. And we keep on playing here, and finally it ends, and the Air Force score.
Cajolo finding the line, coming up big, not just in blocking but also in attacking here in the 5th. Still a 4-point lead for the Airmen. They're just double checking with the technical table kung sino yung next na magsaserve. You don't want any rotation errors at this point of the match.
That would be a gut punch there if there was a rotation error. Here's Wesley Cajolo on the service line. Ken Kulabat, oh, finding the space and getting the point.
Big hole in the middle of the defense of the Philippine Air Force.
Let's take a look at that again, and let's take a look at all that space in the middle.
Yung paraan na sinasabi kanina ni Coach JP de Guzman.
Salvador avoided the blockers and getting the point.
We'll head to our court switch with the Philippine Air Force up by 4.
Another look at that here. So it has been the Philippine Air Force in the ascendancy here. For some time here for VNS to mount a little comeback. As we turn it over to Bailey Sakot here for a report. Bailey, what do you have?
Just an update on Philippine Air Force Airmen's James Boitrago as he is enduring an open wound in between his index and middle finger. According to him, he was trying to block an attack from VNS and his index finger caught the ball, overstretched that one, and then now has a cut the size of his nail. And James, out of all the games and trainings wherein he would tape his fingers, randomly did not choose to today out of all the days. And although James will be sitting this one out, he is optimistic for his team and enduring this with a smile on his face. Back to you, Paolo Neal.
Thank you so much, Billy's, for that. And of course, this is why don't change your routine. If you tape all the time, tape it. But of course, we wish him all the best here, and hopefully we get to see him in action again soon, as Medina hit that with a lot of mustard and getting the point back here for VNS. And of course, apologizes as well. And still the sportsmanship. Let's take a look at that again.
This has been the best performance for Wewe Medina in the entire conference. 24 big points.
Pagulong here on the service line, trying to cut into this 3-point lead. 5 serving 8 at the moment. Oh, and what a save there from Kulabat. A great defensive effort. Medina on that time. Kulabat all over on the defensive end. Medina blocked the coverage by Pagulong. Off the block, and Salvador can't save it.
A for effort for the Philippine Air Force, but that was just a wild ball. VNS starting to rally the troops, getting closer to the Philippine Air Force, but there will be a timeout called.
A timeout, so we'll listen in.
Strong rotation sila. 3 yung blocker nila malalaki. Ngayon, kaya kita pinapapwesto dito kasi nandun ka na sa gitna. Doon nila dadalhin yung receive. Dito ka pumesto. Kung gusto mo ma-single block doon, kung gusto mo mahirapan yung gitna nila, dito ka magpa-receive sa 1. Okay, pwede mo siyang pabakuligin na umaandar o kaya A. Basta importante, kung gusto mo siyang gamitin, paggalawin mo yung gitna mo. And then, pag nakita mo hindi binabantayan, habol mo. Pag binabantayan, doon sa dulo.
Ipapasok ko lang ulit. Galing tayo timeout. Ipapasok ko lang ulit nila yan. Air Force!
Well, the huddles of the Air Force are always blunt, are always direct, and they're going to be hoping that that means that they are going to be direct in the way they approach the rest of this game. 8-6 in favor of the Air Force. 2-point lead for them here. VNS on the comeback trail. But is it too little, too late? We're going to find out in just a bit with Pagulong on the service line. And just too much there for Cajolo. That's the 1-point lead, but a challenge on a block touch. Let's see if they have sharp eyes here to get that right. As the sun has gone down outside here, United Sports Arena, with the temperature slowly falling, much to the delight of my partner, Neil Flores.
It was extra hot a while ago.
It was extra hot today in general, absolutely. Of course, ramdam na ramdam kahit dito sa loob ng United Sports Arena. But yet, of course, everyone was still game and enjoying all of this men's volleyball action.
There was no block touch. That's a 3-0 run for the Griffins. Just a 1-point ball game. They have a strong front line with Adviento, Bornel, and Medina. They also have to come up with kill blocks to match the output of the Philippine Air Force.
7 serving 8 here. As the block goes out. So that will be the Air Force restoring a 2-point advantage. 9-7 is the count here. So let's see what the Air Force could do. Now Domingo with the serve and almost an ace. Medina able to send that the other way. Villegas goes the other way. And here we have Medina. Kept alive here. The intensity is starting to ramp up at United Sports Arena. The push, no finish. Two great saves here. Free ball here to play with for VNS. De Feria. They go to Medina, who was just able to push that across. And no one there to cover. And the Philippine Air Force now have a 3-point lead.
VNS paid for that soft touch. They allowed the Philippine Air Force to counter.
Here's Harold Domingo again. As at the moment here, right as he tried to serve, there was a little technical difficulty here with the lights coming on and off. So we are going to wait for confirmation. That everything is okay as Domingo goes back to the service line. I believe they're just going to make sure that the lighting is still good. And maybe making a few calls, making sure that all the bills are repaid. But either way, it is a 3-point advantage here for the Philippine Air Force as we get the lighting situation sorted out here at United Sports Arena. But again, Neil, just looking at this ball game here so far, the Philippine Air Force, again, with the record that they do have, not necessarily the greatest by their estimations or for anyone really, only winning 1 game this conference so far and in the middle of a 6-game losing skid. You have to wonder again just how big this would be for them, morale-wise, confidence-wise, even moving on from this competition if they can secure a 2nd win here today.
Yeah, this is the last game for both of our teams, so one of them will be ending their conference, ending their campaign with a win,
and the other with a bit of disappointment. Of course, if the Philippine Air Force wins, they actually will have the same record as VNS at 2-6. And based on what we're seeing here so far, they are very well matched here, and it's been a good game.
Adviento off that adjustment. 20 points already for New Adviento.
Ten to 8 in favor of the Air Force. VNS trying to come a bit closer. All right, so here we go. It will be Justin Yatko on the service line. Villegas with the setup. Oh, but what a block. But that will go out here for the VNS-Nasty. They're going to challenge this, though.
Will be challenging. This is going to be a crucial challenge for Coach JP.
Yeah.
They are hoping that the ball caught the line.
Well, let's see. As yeah, you could see it from the reaction of the blockers a while ago. As soon as the ball hit the floor, they had a feeling that that was definitely on the line. Well, we'll see here, and
it was way out.
Way out, actually, yeah.
Maybe a way to ice the momentum of the Philippine Air Force.
Obviously, they had a different angle than we had. It's an unsuccessful challenge and a quick challenge here.
The Griffins have no remaining challenge for this set.
VNS have no remaining challenge. So that was a crucial one there. 11-8 here. The Air Force inching closer and closer for just win number 2 in the conference, and a chance to, drag VNS down to also a 2-6 finish here this conference.
Oh, ball still alive.
That's
pick up from the libero.
Incredible effort here from the Airmen. Paholo with the save. Villegas sets that up. An awkward hit, but it finds the mark.
VNS running out of steam in defense. It's practically a chance ball for the Griffins.
Cue the timeout for VNS. Let's listen in.
Layo-layo na ng spiker tapos wala pa kayo sa timing. Diba? Sige, okay lang yon. Okay lang yan. Oy, huwag kayong ma-pressure, huwag kayong ma-stress. Okay? 4 lang yan, ang layo-layo pa niyan. Seriously ba muna natin ulit? Ha? Go! Go, kapitan natin yan. Tumay sa block.
Again, could you hear the frustration in that huddle as they are trying to fight back here and stop the Philippine Air Force from claiming their second win of the conference at their expense?
VNS was already up 2-1. Now they find themselves with a 4-point deficit. Philippine Air Force just 3 points away from snatching this game from the Griffins.
Serving for the Air Force is Villegas.
Villegas here to serve. Medina, it was a soft and slow hit, but then it's going to be a net violation against the Philippine Air Force.
Too aggressive on the block. Kitang-kita that it was going to be a drop ball from Medina. Still a 3-point lead though for the Philippine Air Force. Look at the numbers of Wewe Medina. 23 attacks, 1 ace. Will that be enough to get a win for VNS?
Soft touch there. Kulabat sends it the other way. Who do they turn to here? And scoring off the block, Motol.
Rocky Motol. Almost in double digits as well for the Griffins.
And Motol coming in as one of the guys we were talking about as having a positive contribution from the bench. 19 excellent receptions from Wewe Medina. Motol. Oh, that one goes in for the Philippine Air Force. So they are now within 2.
Medina was still on the floor after that excellent dig. He wasn't able to stand up immediately for the coverage, but that was a playable ball. Important talaga after getting a dig, you get back on your feet, get back in position to anticipate these check balls from your opponent. Cornell will get one back for the Griffins.
And, he had all the hang time he needed and was able to pick his spot. Just a 2-point lead here. Still anyone's ball game, but the Air Force have the upper hand. Here's Chester Bornell. Villegas sets that up, and it goes in between the blockers and the net. Right on the shoulder of Bornell, actually.
Philippine Air Force now at match point.
And here we go at match point. The Philippine Air Force. Remember, VNS signal to 5 frames just the other day, but the Philippine Air Force close to an upset here. Kulabat saves it, and that time the block goes straight down. Motol with another point.
VNS needs to focus.
And I believe they're gonna check a net touch here for VNS, against VNS. So the Philippine Air Force could win this with this challenge. Let's see. As you can see, our scorekeeper there with his hands on the scorecard already, right, to make the change just in case, but we'll see. Potentially the biggest challenge here of the Air Force. Of course, Coach Jeff listening to his players here. This is going to be a crucial challenge. Or rather, it's a denied challenge here from the Air Force.
That will not be allowed.
Can they end this here? The Air Force looking for their second win. Kulabat wants to extend this, and he will. One more from extending this, Neil.
Tense moments here inside the Inares Sports Arena. Timeout will be called though by the Philippine Air Force.
And that's how you freeze the server. Let's listen in.
Sarado na eh. Hoy, wala namang problema doon sa diskarte mo. Pero, makabilis. Sina nga na mabilis. Nandito si Kahulo. Oh, sa harap niya yung setter, pero sa nakapokus yung middle. Sa open, di ba? Nandito ka nagpa-receive, yung middle, pag silip mo, nandun na sa open. So, ibig sabihin, binabantayan yung open. Kasi tutulungan niya talaga yung setter. So, ngayon, harap ka. Harap ka. O, pag nakita mo hindi yung middle pumunta sa open, bigay mo dito. Receivean niyo muna. Pagka no choice ka, nandito si Kahulo. Sige, pasa kami. Pasa, to. 1, 2, 3.
Next play is designed for Kaholo. As per Coach Jesse Lopez, also a very busy man coaching in the PVL for Choco Mucho, also with the Philippine Air Force.
I was going to say a very well sought out talent.
Coach pa yan sa NU.
I was going to say that does a lot. Villegas with the setup. Medina with the save. Can they reach it? No, they can. And that will be the win for the Philippine Air Force as they bookend their campaign here. They won their first game and they win their last. It is exactly how they wanted to end a really tough and long conference for them. But what an effort here for the Philippine Air Force. Down 2-1 at one point and getting the win in the end.
Villegas risked it. He set that up for Domingo. And it was unexpected and it paid off for the Philippine Air Force as they end it with a bang with a close 5-set thriller against the VNS-Nasty Griffins.
And it's 5-set thriller. It felt like at some point it was a war of attrition, but there were fireworks towards the end. What a game here between these two. And when we return, we'll have a lot more analysis. And of course, our interview with the best player of the game. Don't go away.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand by for our last match in our Friday triple header. It's going to be between the Savage Aesthetics Pin Doctors going up against the Crisscross King Crunchers.
Magatas nung bumati ka naman. You're watching the Spikers Turf Open Conference 2024. The Airmen winning this match after 5 sets. Their player of the game, Brian Haleco, with 21 points and 20 attacks. First off, Brian, congrats sa inyong panalo. What a thrilling game. Ano ang pakiramdam that you've ended this conference on a high note?
Masaya syempre kasi yung pagtapos ng laro namin itong season na to, sabi ni Coach Des na tapusin namin na maganda at mapanalo tong laro namin na to.
Of course, it's been a tough season, it's been a challenging season, pero long way to go pa. Looking forward to the next. Ano naman yung mensahe mo sa iyong mga teammates?
Mensahe ko sa mga teammates ko, patibayan lang natin yung pinagsamaan natin sa buong season na to.
Right, baka may gusto ka batiin.
Binabati ko dyan yung mga magulang ko dyan sa Puerto Princesa, Palawan, ay mama, kay papa, kay Jasmine, sa girlfriend ko na rin. Mahal kita and I love you. And sa mga magulang ng girlfriend ko sa Brox Point and yung mga tito ko dyan sa Brox Point and sa mga sa Espanyola din. Yun lang po.
Brian Haleco of the Philippine Air Force, player of the game. Congrats on the win. Back to you, Paolo Neil.
That's one of my favorite interviews. I've heard in a while, and of course, entertaining set number 5 here, Neil, and it was a back and forth, a late comeback attempt here, coming from VNS, just fell short.
We got the message. He loves his girlfriend.
Oh yeah, we love his girlfriend, and the parents also.
Yeah,
the parents
also.
You know, that's just good sense to do that. But you have to say, you have to give credit to the parents as well.
Well, he was the top option for the Philippine Air Force, so he deserved the spotlight in our interview. Looking back in the 5th set, Philippine Air Force again had the edge in attacking and blocking compared to the Griffins. Both teams minimized their unforced errors, and it was really a back and forth affair. It was almost a 3-hour game, 2 hours and 40 minutes to be exact. So Philippine Air Force will celebrate, and VNS will probably come back stronger in the next conference.
Absolutely. It's a character-building win. It's character-building experience here in this game. And what a way to end their competition here with one of the more entertaining 5-set matches here. Up next, of course, we're not done yet here at the United Sports Arena. We have the Crisscross King Crunchers going up against the Sabuj Spin Doctors. That's coming up here on Pilipinas Live. You're watching the 2024 Spiker Store. Thank you very much for joining us for this one. I'm Paulo de Rosario alongside Neil Flores. Benny Zakot was a courtside reporter. We'll see you in just a bit.